Hello, welcome to our weekly IG Live chats. We are going to be talking with author Deedee Cummings today. And while she's going to be joining us, I can give you an update on our YouTube channel, which is something that we're working on uploading a lot of really great content. We've had all of these IG Lives where Deedee has shared a lot of her tips with us. And so now you're going to be able to access those. Of course, you can always get that in Instagram, but now they're going to be YouTube as well. And we have some other videos that are in there. Hold on, just getting her in the chat. But now you're going to be able to have all of the IG Lives all in one place. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hanging in there.
I was just sharing that. I've been working on our YouTube channel. I was actually doing that right. That's why I was a minute late getting on here. I was just in the middle of uploading. I was trying to upload as many as I could so I could give an update on how it looks. We have a lot of videos on here, and now we have our IG Lives all in one place. Right now, it looks like we actually only have a few on here, but I've working on downloading them from Instagram and then uploading them to YouTube. It takes a little while, but it's going to be really nice to have them on there.
Yeah, it is. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Like I was saying, I mean, we can always have them here on Instagram, but sometimes for me, that takes like a few extra steps if I'm looking to find something. And this way you can just go to the YouTube and it's all right there. We've got the titles and the dates. And so if there's something you're looking for, you can find it really easily.
Sounds great.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm really tired today. I don't know if you can see it, but I know we announced last week that Kayla Pecchioni, my daughter, would be on, which I really hoped she would be on, but she got cast in a Broadway show. This is the Kayla from Kayla Modern Day Princess, the same one I wrote used as the inspiration for these books. She was cast in a Broadway show last year, and the show opened in Chicago in the fall and did really well. And then it was supposed to open in February in New York, but again, because of the pandemic and things that were happening at the beginning of the year, and people trying to be protective, trying to take extra measures to make sure that COVID didn't spread, the show got pushed back, and they really weren't sure when they were going to start rehearsals, and I think she might have really even been worried that it wasn't going to happen at all.
Right.
I don't know if you can imagine having like a huge dream. You know, for a performer, going to Broadway is like a football player making it to the NFL. I mean, it's hard to do, and it's a big deal. And I think she was a little worried in the back of her mind that it wouldn't happen. But just yesterday, her cast, Paradise Square, began formal Broadway rehearsals. So she had her first day of Broadway rehearsals yesterday, and that's where she is today. So she won't be able to join us today, but I kind of wanted to remind everybody about how big this dream is. I mean, it's such a big dream, and I've been so impressed by her heart and her spirit that I wrote this series of books in tribute to her. And I just want to show everybody the covers again in case they haven't seen them. This is book one, because they're just so gorgeous, and I'm just so proud of her and all that she has achieved and accomplished. And so all of these books are inspired by her life. They're not 100% true to everything that she went through. But like, for example, the character Tommy, who's in the books, he's kind of like a conglomerate of a lot of friends that she had growing up. This is one of my favorite covers here. I don't know why I like this one so much, but I just love it. I love the butterfly tutu that's kind of like lifting her up and helping her dance and follow her dreams. And then this is the final book in the series. And if you're an author, I never really thought about writing a series, but if you're an author and you're interested in writing, you should consider a series, because I had no idea the impact that these books would have on my career as an author. People say it's easier to sell 10 books to one person than it is to sell one book to 10 people. And I've definitely seen that as an author with this series being in effect, because people who love the book buy the whole series. And that's been really cool to see so many people buy the entire series. And I just hope everybody loves it. We just had Multicultural Book Day, as you know, Leanna. And we got nothing but just great feedback about the series, the illustrations done by my illustrator. She's an illustrator, but she's a true artist, Charlene Mosley, who is your neighbor there in California. We got just great feedback on the story, the artistry of the illustrations, and just the positive, uplifting, and hopeful message that is told through these books. So I'm disappointed that she can't join us today, but I mean, this is what this whole series was about her following this dream, and it's happening. It's really happening. So
She
that's
has a
so,
good excuse. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I mean, that must be really exciting, especially I know things are so uncertain now. I bet she was nervous that something would happen and it wasn't going to go forward. So that's really exciting that it is.
She was very nervous that was going to happen because 2 years ago she was actually cast as one of the Donna Summers. There's three Donna Summers in the Donna Summer musical. There's three ages of Donna Summers in the Donna Summer musical. And 2 years ago she was, thank you, D Nice, for saying that's amazing. It is pretty cool. 2 years ago she was actually cast as one of the Donna Summers in Donna Summer the musical. And then the pandemic hit and she lost her job, as so many Broadway performers did. And when you think about the pandemic and a lot of things that closed during that time, I know restaurants were hit hard. I don't mean to pretend like a lot of people didn't struggle. Restaurants were hit hard, the hospitals were hit hard, but Broadway was closed for 18 months, which is just, when I still think about it, it's just shocking to me that they were shut down for 18 months. And so all those performers and all those artists didn't work all that time. And it wasn't just the performers, it was everybody from the actors to the backstage crew to lighting to sound, choreographers, costumers, people who do the hair and the wigs. All of those people were out of work for all of that time. So it's a really exciting time to see them all go back to work. And I'm my daughter's biggest fan, and I would have just loved to have just been a fly on the wall and just see them all come back together in New York. First day of rehearsal for this Broadway show, it had to be electric.
Yeah. And what can you tell us what about the show?
Yes,
Which,
it's called Paradise Square.
okay.
And it's opening on March 15th at the Barrymore Theater. Is really exciting too. I mean, it's one of the Broadway theaters. Of course, she's on Broadway, but I keep repeating that, like, you know, the Barrymore Theater, a Broadway theater. It's crazy. And I believe they open on March 15th, or they open for previews anyway on March 15th. But it's called Paradise Square, and it's a very interesting story about two cultures that come to live together around the time of the Civil War. And it's about Irish culture and uh, a bunch of freed slaves who all come to New York, and they come to this area in New York called Paradise Square, which was a real area in New York. And they come to Paradise Square, and it's about how they learn to live together, and they love each other, and they work hard together, and they protect each other and defend each other. And it's really interesting in many ways, because a lot of the stuff that happens, I mean, this took place 100 years ago, 200 years ago, I guess would be 200 years ago. And the politics that happened 200 years ago are so similar to our today. There are some politicians in the storyline who divide people and use race and
Oh, it just lost your audio. So you cut out for a minute. You said there were some politicians that used race, and
race
then
and
I didn't hear.
race and societal issues to divide people. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Oh, that sounds amazing.
it's like, you know how they say the more that things change, the more they stay the same. So that was kind of interesting. Um, but I just love it. I love the show, and it has beautiful music and beautiful choreography. And of course, I just think my daughter is beautiful and gorgeous. And we
Yeah.
just, it's cool that it opened in Chicago first. So we actually got to see the show already before it went to Broadway. So
Mm.
it's been a really neat journey to see her dream come true.
Well, that's amazing. And I
Yeah.
love it. It's like you said, I mean, that's what the whole book series is about. It's
Yes.
about having dreams come true and working hard for your dreams. And
Yes.
that's so neat to see it happen in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been exciting. Um, what we're trying to do now with the books, just to remind everybody, is we want to get this series to Broadway. So if anyone's on right now and they don't have the books, if you have the time, please just go to Amazon and just download one of the ebooks. The ebooks are really cheap. They're like $1.99, $2.99. Download one of the ebooks and leave a great review. Believe it or not, that helps so much. That helps us draw attention to this series. And, I always tell people we just don't get to see a lot of images like this in media. So it's very important. This is the whole reason why we have Multicultural Children's Book Day, too. It's just very important that when you see someone who has a story like this, that you support it so that we can continue to have more stories like this.
Yes, it's so important. And it's really neat. One of the things that I was impressed by with the Multicultural Children's Book Day this year was we just had the diversity within multicultural children's books that, as we're supporting and having more authors who are doing these own voices books, you can find so many more like you yourself. I mean, we focus a lot on the Kayla books, but you've done a lot of other books. You have In the Nick of Time. And I mean, you've kind of done a range of things. And
Yeah.
so it's nice to get to see, it used to be you just find a handful of books that would have that would be own voices that would be focused on Black children, and now there are so many more. It's really fun to see that. And like you say, those reviews on Amazon, a lot of people don't realize how much difference they make. If you go on, you have a book that you love, it really helps out the authors if you leave a great
Yeah.
review for them. It doesn't
And
have
it's,
to be super. It doesn't have to be, you know.
yeah. I know a lot of times people say, I have to find the right words. No, just hit 5 stars and write great.
Yeah.
That's
People just
it.
look for that sincere review because they really want to know what it's like, and that just really helps.
Yeah. And it helps if you actually buy the book too. You can leave a review on Amazon. Like if somebody gives you a book, you can say, oh, I was
Right.
given my birthday and I wanted to leave a review about it because I loved it so much. But it really does help if you buy the book because then you see those little red letters that say verified purchaser. And those carry more weight also. Um,
Mm.
I'm not very good with selling myself, but I have to get better at it
Mm.
because if I don't do it, then people won't find out that this exists. And so if you ever watch my videos and you feel like it's a big marketing commercial, just know that I believe in this dream with all of my heart. And so when I talk about things like that, I'm really just trying to show people how easy it is to support Black work, especially now during Black History Month, but really hopefully any day of the year. If you have $1.99 or $2.99 and you want to make a real difference in an author's life, if you know an author or you admire an author, that's a real easy way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, this now or any time of year. There's been a lot of talk I've seen on social media that a lot of people like to use Black History Month as a time to talk about it or even to market their own things, but
Yeah,
maybe they don't have, like a lot of companies,
yeah,
maybe they don't really have any Black employees or Black people in leadership positions, or maybe this is something they only think about in February because they know that's when people are talking about it. But really, you want to look for that authenticity of people who are supporting all year long.
yes, definitely. Yeah, I say the same thing about a lot of people ask me to speak in
Um,
History Month, and I'm always surprised by that. I'm like, do you not need me to speak anywhere for the rest of the year? Don't just contact me during Black History Month, because really we all should be calling attention to um, representation and cultural diversity and issues that affect all of us every day of the year. It shouldn't just be Black History Month. Um, but yeah, and then I go and I look at somebody's board of directors and I'm like, you need me every day of the year. You don't need me during Black
That's great.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Lee. Enjoy our conversation as usual, and hopefully we'll be able to get Kayla on here one day. We'll definitely promote it so everybody knows when she can join us. But hopefully it'll happen soon. But I'm so glad my baby is following her dreams and that her dreams are happening. It's exciting.
Well, thank you for sharing the news. I think that's exciting for all of us that love the character to see it happen in real life. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We'll see everybody back next week, same time, Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.